Hello, I'm NateBob27, and I think Breath of the Wild is an amazing game. A complete and total masterpiece. And it is my favorite game of all time. And it does have some wrinkles and niggling little annoyances that just make it not as good as possible. It is phenomenal, but it's like Super Metroid. It's amazing, but it's also fairly flawed. Like with Super Metroid, wall jumps can be bad, and like the difference in between moving and jumping and then jumping and moving is a little annoying. And also, the theme is a little too much. So, like with this, it has a sequel, Tears of the Kingdom, and Tears of the Kingdom has improved on Breath of the Wild in numerous ways. Well, several ways, okay? Numerous is a little far, but we'll say several, because I'm doing 5. 5 is technically several, so let's do 5. Okay, so here are my top 5 ways how Tears of the Kingdom improves in Breath of the Wild. Let's go. Number 5, weapon durability. Now, weapon durability was one of the biggest criticisms of the first game, and I can admit, it can be annoying having your favorite sword breaking, or, you know, like your weapons are breaking time after time, and you feel like you're never gonna kill this guy, and you're just gonna run out of weapons. That can be really annoying, and I can see where they're coming from. I personally liked it, but I can see why they hated it. And I am happy to see that it's fixed, because even though I did like it because it brought in a lot of gameplay variety, I did see how it was annoying, and it was a little annoying to me. And I am happy they fixed it. Now you can fuse anything, well, pretty much anything, to any weapon, including bows, shields, and swords. And it does truly fix the problem, because if something's about to break, you just fuse something to it and it's all better, and until it starts to break again, you just destroy the fuse material and do it again. It can keep a weapon with you for a long time, so like if you have a favorite weapon, you don't have to break it. And it does truly fix it. And I'm really happy they did it, because it tells me that they're listening in on fan feedback and trying to fix it, which I think a lot of Nintendo people should really start doing. Next, what I want to talk about is the theme. Now, Breath of the Wild had like the serene and beautiful and like the destroyed world. That was fine. It was good for Breath of the Wild, but what I can really appreciate in a game is a dark, scary, thick atmosphere that really is just spooky. So, I was pretty excited when Alnuma said that this thing was gonna rival Twilight Princess and Majora's Mask, and it pretty much does. Like, the opening cinematic was one of my favorite Zelda moments ever, and the whole underground area is perfect. Visiting the Gerudo town and like the skeletons and like how hard they are to fight and how high the stakes are super scary. Like the constructs, I don't know why, but like robots to me have like a scary like apocalyptic kind of thing, and it's scary, so constructs just in general creep me out, and I just love it. And it is a big step up from like Breath of the Wild, the serene and beautiful. It's no like Super Metroid or anything, but it's still something, and it's really good at that. Okay, so dungeons were a huge point of contention in the first game. People didn't like the shrines, and I didn't like the shrines either, and that's one thing that's not so good about this game. Trust me, there's a video coming about that. But dungeons were also lacking in the form of divine beasts, which were ousted in this game, and now we actually have dungeons, temples. Now, I have done 2 dungeons, the Rito one and the Thunder Temple, the Gerudo one. I'm 70 hours in, and so far it has confirmed one thing, that the dungeons, at least the main story dungeons, not the shrines, are good, and it also ties into one other point I have, but we're not talking about that yet. We're still on dungeons, and it truly fulfills, like, it doesn't have a specific item, but at least so far, you get like a character that has their own ability that acts like an item, and that you get to keep for the rest of your game, except for when you're in the other dungeons, of course. But you know, like, it really does help, and it helps that they're themed. Like, the Divine Beast sort of had a theme with, like, you could move the trunk around on, like, the elephant one and make the water go, and, like, the one with the Goron 1 had like you can like rotate it all around and it was all fiery, but they had no real main theme. But like I did the Wind Temple, it had a very distinct theme, like wintry, stormy, and then the Thunder Temple, had a distinct theme. Like it starts out like an Indiana Jones dungeon crawl kind of thing, and then it turns into like this sort of like it has mirror puzzles too. Like that's crazy, and it's like kind of spooky and like it's kind of like ancient Egypt to me, and I just love it. And I really love the dungeons in this game. That's a big thumbs up. One big thumbs down is the shrines, but who cares? I'll just deal with them. But the main dungeons, they're good. They're definitely. So one problem with Breath of the Wild is the lack of enemy variety. You get tired of just fighting the same moblins and bokoblins and Lizalfos and Hinoxes all over the place. Once you get like decently far in the game, you don't see any new enemies. And this game solves that problem. There are at least double as many enemies. And like there are also more big boss type enemies like your Lionels and your Hinoxes. Like you got the Gleeok and you got the Flux Construct and you got that hand one that is like Gloom that only hits you like underground, at least I think. You got that one, I think that qualifies as a big boss one. But also you got Constructs, you got those skeleton guys in the Gerudo, you got the boss Bokoblin, you got so many new ones, and you got new increments on old enemies, like Ice Lizalfos, and you have armor. Like some enemies have armor which you need to hit with a hammer. There's so much more enemy variety here. It fixes the problem immensely, and they're so much more fun to fight than just the normal whatever same enemies you've seen all game that you got in Breath of the Wild. It's so much of an improvement. Okay, so finally the last one, and this is the one I've been most wanting to talk about in this video. This is the reason I've made this video, and it's the story. Now, I've only gotten maybe half of the crop circle memory things, and I've done only 2 out of the 4 dungeons, and only played the game for about 75 hours, and I can already say, hands down, with only one doubt in my mind, that this is the best Zelda story, only beaten maybe by Twilight Princess. It's so good. The mystery of where Princess Zelda went is great, and like seeing the first king of Hyrule and the depressing story of what happened to the Zonai and the imprisoning war with the Demon King, and it's all just so good. And I know we're reaching into spoiler alert territory, but I don't care. The story in this game is beyond. Like, I was already floored with Breath of the Wild's story, but it was, compared to Tears of the Kingdom, that was terrible, and compared to other games like Elden Ring, and even stuff like, I don't know, Pokemon Legends Arceus or something like that, it pales in comparison to Tears of the Kingdom. Oh my god, if this is how good stories are everywhere else, I've been missing out, because the story in this game is beyond. I love it. It is truly one of my favorite Zelda stories, and this is what I thought back with Twilight Princess, and I may be thinking that this is better than Twilight Princess's story. And I don't know, because it's a lot scarier than Twilight Princess. I don't think it quite beats Majora's Mask, but it certainly comes close and definitely beats Twilight Princess. So that, plus how good the story is, I just can't comprehend it. It's unbelievable how good it is. So that, my friends, is how I think Tears of the Kingdom, improves on Breath of the Wild. But what I want to pinpoint most about this is how this is so weird for Nintendo, and good, because all of the things that have improved were the biggest criticisms of Breath of the Wild, and that means that Nintendo listened. They listened to the feedback and improved it. Like, how often does that happen? I mean, like, you get some stuff with Sakurai and, like, Luigi's Mansion 3, the people took what people didn't like about Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, took it out, and more implemented the stuff they liked about the first game, sure, but this doesn't happen often, and it's so good, and it needs to happen more. So you just talk about what you like about this game down in the comments, or talk about, I don't know, nacho cheese. Just talk down in the comments. And have a good day. I'm gonna go play Tears of the Kingdom. You go play Tears of the Kingdom after you're done writing your comment, and I'll catch you in the next video.